Well, for our St. Patrick's Day attempt, top of the morning to you. I'm Dr. Bill,
And I'm Ted.
and we're going to talk to you a little bit about St. Patrick's Day and try to substantiate some rumors about St. Patrick and probably start a few. Uh, he was born around the 5th century and really didn't become known that much until the 1700s when they began to relook up some of his writings and so forth. And it turns out he was born in Wales or Scotland and was kidnapped as a 9-year old and taken to Ireland and found out he was taken there to work on Sroot's beet farm and became known as Dwight Schrute for a time. He then left there and went to France and became religious, took the orders, and became a priest. And at that time, he was then became St. Francis. He then came back to Ireland and became the patron saint of Ireland. Now, did you know that he banished all the snakes from Ireland?
No, Doc, I did not.
Well, because he didn't, because there have never been snakes in Ireland. That's a myth that we just debunked, and I'm so happy that we're able to do that. Did you know that St. Patrick didn't wear green?
No, I did not.
He wore blue.
Well, why am I always getting pinched every time I forget to wear green?
Well, because you live with a bunch of leprechauns. And that didn't really become the color of Ireland until the 1728 Irish Rebellion, when they began to wear green because the British soldiers wore red, and also gave rise to the fight song of wearing of the green. And so from that point forward, green has been associated with Ireland and with St. Patrick's Day.
I did not know that.
But since this is a grape adventure or spirits adventure, what do you know about spirits that may have come from Ireland?
Well, I can tell you one thing. There's not much of really any wine that comes out of Ireland. It's primarily spirits, things like, Irish whiskey and the famous Bailey's Irish cream or different types of Irish creams that are out there. But primarily what people think of when they think of Irish spirits, they think of Irish whiskey. And Irish whiskey is a little bit different in that it's not like, Kentucky or say even the Highlands region, the northern part of Scotland, where you can't throw a rock without hitting a distillery. There's really only two distilleries in Ireland. They're basically Bushmills, which is way up at the top of the country, and then there's what they call the Old Middleton Distillery, which is down kind of in the southeastern part of Ireland in an area called Cork. And basically, those two distilleries are pretty much the lion's share of all Irish whiskey that comes out. The main difference is that Bushmills, way up in the north, remember, is primarily just malted barley. All right, it's about 55% malted barley, about 45% grain whiskey or grain alcohol. All right. Then you've got the Old Middleton Distillery down in Cork, which is where Jameson and Redbreast, and Yellow Spot, Green Spot. They're even coming out with a new Gold Spot. I shudder to think what that's going to cost. And like Conor McGregor's Proper 12, a bunch of these same whiskey, bunch of these Irish whiskeys come out of this same one, distillery. And whereas Bushmills up in the north uses just primarily malted barley, basically down in Cork in the Old Middleton distillery where they make Jameson and all this other stuff, a lot of that is about 20% barley and about 80% what they call grain or maize based whiskey. So that's kind of the two main differences. Bushmills is typically a little bit sweeter, a little bit more known as a sipping type of Irish whiskey. Jameson and a lot of those are really kind of a little crisper, but also a little smokier in there and more kind of a mixing type of whiskey. Though if you're lucky enough to get into Middleton or any of the yellow spot, green spot, some of the older redbreast stuff, absolutely fantastic. So you definitely want to try it out. And then, yeah, everybody knows about Guinness. Guinness is basically a stout beer. So if you want to try something from, Ireland, we highly suggest you give, any of the Irish whiskeys a shot, especially, like I said, some of the aged, Irish whiskey from, the old Middleton distillery or even Bushmills, Bailey's, and a few of the knockoffs that we've had come along, like Mary's and things like that are really great, always great sipping, and Guinness. What you don't want to do is go to your local bar and get whatever kind of green beer they may have on special, because more than likely it's just going to be some crappy light beer that they've added green food coloring to.
And you know where that came from?
Where?
Your friend Budweiser.
Yeah.
In about the 80s, they decided that beer was going to be a great drink for St. Patrick's Day, and hence the green beer came along. But there's another thing about the Irish that we talk about, and that's the shamrock. And the shamrock actually has been designated as the botanical gift that saints would bestow. And the shamrock is a botanical gift for St. Patrick. Unfortunately, I couldn't do anything, so we had to get shamrock cookies. And one good thing about them, you can eat them, but the shamrocks themselves don't taste very good. So one other little thing, do you know of any green wines that come from Ireland?
Well, not from Ireland per se, but there are some green wines, and I think you've got one for us to try.
Yeah, well, not so fast, because here is a green wine, not from Ireland, but actually from Portugal. We're going to have a taste of that in just a second. So I notice you are wearing your green.
Absolutely.
And as you notice,
you're covered.
I'm just a little bit Irish. But I understand that Ancestry.com will give you a discount and give you 1% Irish heritage if you send your money and your subscription this week. So join us in a little touch of green wine, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Paddy'S Day.